Richard Stone sat in his huge office on the 40th floor of the Stone Digital building. The city spread out below him like a giant map. Cars looked like tiny toys moving through the streets. People walked around like ants. From up here, everything seemed small and far away. Just like Richard felt about his own life. His phone buzzed with another business call. Richard had been working since 5 in the morning. It was now almost 9 at night. His assistant knocked on the glass door and pointed to her watch. She mouthed the words, "Go home." But Richard waved her away. He had 3 more meetings to finish. Richard was 45 years old and worth over $3 billion. His company made computer programs that helped other businesses store information in the cloud. He started the company in his garage 12 years ago with just $5,000. Now Stone Digital had offices in 20 countries and over 10,000 workers, but success had cost him everything that really mattered. His wife Linda had left him 2 years ago. She took half of everything in the divorce. Richard did not fight her for it. He knew she deserved it. He had chosen work over family too many times to count. The worst part was his son Alex. The boy was 12 years old and had cerebral palsy. Alex could not walk without help and used a wheelchair to get around. His right arm and leg did not work, as well as his left side. But Alex was smart and funny and loved video games and music. Richard felt sick with guilt every time he looked at his son. Not because Alex was disabled. That was not the problem. The problem was that Richard did not know how to be a good father to him. When Alex was born, the doctors said he might never walk or talk normally. Richard threw himself into work even harder. He told himself he was making money to pay for the best doctors and therapists. But really, he was running away. Now Alex lived in the big house with Richard, but they barely spoke to each other. Richard had hired Mrs. Garcia to take care of Alex during the day. She cooked his meals, helped him with his exercises, and drove him to appointments. Alex also had a tutor named Mr. Peterson, who came 3 times a week to help with schoolwork. Richard paid these people very well to take care of his son, but he stayed away from Alex as much as possible. When they ate dinner together, which was not often, Richard would ask simple questions like, "How was your day?" Alex would give short answers. Then they would eat in silence while Richard checked emails on his phone. The house was massive. It had 12 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, a swimming pool, and a tennis court. Alex had his own wing with special equipment for his physical therapy. There were ramps everywhere and doors that opened automatically. Richard had spent $2 million making the house perfect for Alex's wheelchair. But the house felt empty and cold. Alex spent most of his time alone in his room playing video games or reading books. Sometimes Richard would walk past Alex's room and hear him talking to other kids online while playing games. Alex sounded happy and excited during these calls, but when Richard appeared in the doorway, Alex would get quiet and look away. Last month, Alex's physical therapist quit without warning. Her name was Dr. Martinez, and she had worked with Alex for over a year. She helped him get stronger and learn new ways to move around. Alex liked her because she treated him like a normal kid, not like someone to feel sorry for. Richard called Dr. Martinez to ask why she quit. She was honest with him in a way that shocked him. "Mr. Stone, I cannot do my job when the child's father shows no interest in his progress," she said. "Alex asks about you every day. He wants to show you the new things he can do, but you are never there. When you are there, you act like being around him makes you uncomfortable." Richard tried to argue. He said he was busy with work. He said he paid her very well to take care of Alex's needs. "Money cannot replace a father's love," Dr. Martinez said firmly. "That boy needs you, not just your credit card. Until you understand that, no therapist in the world can help him reach his full potential." She hung up the phone. Richard stared at it for a long time. He knew she was right, but he did not know how to fix things. He had been avoiding Alex for so long that now it felt impossible to change. That evening, Richard came home early for once. The house was quiet. Mrs. Garcia had gone home for the day. Alex was in his room with the door closed. Richard could hear the sound of a video game coming from inside. He raised his hand to knock on the door, but stopped. What would he say? He and Alex were like strangers living in the same house. Richard had missed so many important moments. Alex's birthday parties were planned by Mrs. Garcia. Parent-teacher conferences were handled by the tutor. When Alex had to go to the hospital for surgery on his leg last year, Richard dropped him off and went to work. Mrs. Garcia stayed with Alex all day and night. Richard walked to his own room and sat on the edge of his bed. He looked at a picture on his nightstand. It showed him Linda and baby Alex at the hospital right after Alex was born. In the picture, Richard was smiling and holding Alex carefully in his arms. He looked like the happiest man in the world. Where had that man gone? When did taking care of his family become something he paid other people to do? His phone rang. Another business call from Japan. Richard looked at the phone for a long moment. Then he turned it off and threw it in a drawer. He walked back to Alex's room and stood outside the door again. This time he knocked softly. "Come in," Alex said. Richard opened the door. Alex was sitting in his wheelchair in front of his computer. He was playing an online game with friends. When he saw his father, Alex looked surprised. "Hi, Dad," Alex said quietly. He paused his game. "Hi, Alex," Richard said. He felt nervous, like he was meeting his son for the first time. "How was your day?" "It was okay," Alex said. He waited to see if his father wanted to talk more, or if this was just another quick check-in before Richard disappeared again. Richard looked around the room. He saw certificates on the wall from Alex's online school. Pictures of Alex with Mrs. Garcia and Dr. Martinez. Trophies from video game competitions that Alex had won. His son had a whole life that Richard knew nothing about. "I heard Dr. Martinez quit," Richard said. Alex nodded and looked down at his hands. "She said she had to take another job." Richard knew that was not the real reason, but he did not want to tell Alex what Dr. Martinez had really said. Instead, he sat down in a chair near Alex's wheelchair. "Maybe we should find a new therapist together," Richard said. "Someone you would like to work with." Alex looked up with surprise. His father never got involved in choosing his doctors or therapists. "Really?" Alex asked. "Really?" Richard said. "And maybe I could learn some of the exercises too, so I can help you practice them." For the first time in months, Alex smiled at his father. It was a small smile, but it was real. Richard felt something crack open inside his chest. It was the first tiny step toward finding his way back to his son. 3 days after his talk with Alex, Richard stood in his son's doorway again. This time he had an idea that scared him a little. He had been thinking about what Dr. Martinez said. Maybe it was time to stop hiding behind work and money. Maybe it was time to actually spend time with Alex. "Hey, Alex," Richard said. "Do you want to go out for dinner tonight?" Alex looked up from his homework with surprise. His father never asked him to go anywhere. Usually Mrs. Garcia took Alex to restaurants when he wanted to eat out. "Just me and you?" Alex asked. "Just me and you," Richard said. "Anywhere you want to go?" Alex thought for a moment. "Can we go somewhere normal? Not one of those fancy places, with the cloth napkins?" Richard almost smiled. Alex was right. The few times they had eaten out together, Richard always chose expensive restaurants where everyone spoke in whispers and the food came in tiny portions. Alex never seemed comfortable in those places. "Sure," Richard said. "You pick the place." Alex grabbed his tablet and searched for restaurants nearby. He found one called Murphy's Diner that had good reviews and pictures of big burgers and milkshakes. It was only 10 minutes away from their house. "This one looks good," Alex said, showing his father the screen. Richard looked at the pictures. The place looked very ordinary, the kind of place where normal families went to eat. Richard had not been in a place like that since he was a kid. All his business meals happened in private clubs or five-star restaurants. "Okay," Richard said. "Let's go to Murphy's Diner." An hour later, Richard was pushing Alex's wheelchair through the front door of the restaurant. The place was busy but not crowded. Families sat in red booths eating comfort food. Kids ran around while their parents talked. A jukebox in the corner played old songs from the 1960s. Richard felt out of place in his expensive suit. Everyone else wore jeans and casual clothes, but Alex looked excited. His eyes moved around the room, taking in all the activity and noise. Young black woman walked over to them with a bright smile. She wore a simple uniform with a name tag that said Maya. She had kind eyes and moved with easy confidence. "Hi there," Maya said. "Table for two?" "Yes, please," Richard said. Maya led them to a booth near the window. Richard started to help Alex move from his wheelchair to the booth seat, but Maya was already there. She did not make a big deal about helping Alex. She just moved naturally, like helping people was something she did every day. "There you go," Maya said as Alex settled into the booth. "Is this spot okay? The lighting is good here and you can see the whole restaurant." Alex nodded happily. "This is perfect." Maya handed them menus and knelt down so she was at Alex's eye level. This surprised Richard. Most waiters stood above them and talked down to Alex like he was much younger than 12. "What kind of food do you like?" Maya asked Alex directly. "I love burgers," Alex said, "and chocolate milkshakes." "You came to the right place then," Maya said with a grin. "We make the best burgers in town. And our chocolate milkshakes are so thick you need 2 hands to hold the glass." Alex laughed. Richard watched this interaction with fascination. Maya was treating Alex like any other customer. She was not speaking slowly or using a different voice. She was not staring at his wheelchair or asking what was wrong with him. She was just being normal and friendly. "I'll give you guys a few minutes to look at the menu," Maya said. "But if you have any questions, just wave me over." As Maya walked away, Alex looked at his father with excitement. "She's really nice, Dad." "Yes, she is," Richard agreed. They looked at their menus in comfortable silence. Richard could not remember the last time he and Alex had done something this simple together, just sitting in a restaurant deciding what to eat. It felt strange, but also good. When Maya came back to take their order, Alex was ready. "I want the double cheeseburger with fries and a chocolate milkshake." "Great choice," Maya said. "How about you, sir?" Richard had been so focused on watching Alex that he had barely looked at his menu. "I'll have the same thing," he said. "2 double cheeseburgers coming right up," Maya said. "And I'll make sure those milkshakes are extra thick." As they waited for their food, Richard and Alex actually talked. Not the usual short questions and answers. Real conversation. Alex told his father about the online game tournament he had won last week. Richard asked questions and listened to the answers. He learned that Alex was really good at strategy games and had friends all over the world who he played with online. "I wish I could meet them in person sometime," Alex said, "but most of them live far away." "Maybe we could arrange that," Richard said. "We could travel to visit some of them." Alex's face lit up. "Really? You would do that?" "I would like to do that," Richard said, and he meant it. Their food arrived and it was delicious. The burgers were huge and messy. The fries were crispy and hot. The milkshakes were so thick that Alex had to use both hands to lift his glass, just like Maya had promised. As they ate, the restaurant filled up with more people. It was Friday night, and families were coming in for dinner. The jukebox kept playing old songs. Some of the music was slow and romantic. Other songs were upbeat and made people tap their feet. Then something unexpected happened. An older couple got up from their table and started dancing near the jukebox. The man was probably 70 years old and walked with a cane. The woman had gray hair and wore a simple dress. But when they danced together, they moved like they were young again. Alex stopped eating and watched them with fascination. His foot started tapping under the table to the beat of the music. Richard noticed that his son's whole body seemed to respond to the rhythm, even the parts that did not work as well as they should. Another couple joined the first couple. Then a family with teenage kids got up to dance. Soon there were 6 or 7 people moving to the music in the small space near the jukebox. Alex watched every movement. His hands moved slightly on the table, keeping time with the song. Richard could see that his son wanted to be part of what was happening. But how could someone in a wheelchair join a dance? Maya appeared at their table with a coffee pot to refill Richard's cup. She noticed Alex watching the dancers with longing in his eyes. "That looks like fun, doesn't it?" Maya said to Alex. "Yeah," Alex said quietly. "I wish I could dance like that." Maya set down the coffee pot and looked at Alex thoughtfully. "Who says you can't?" Alex looked confused. "I'm in a wheelchair." "So?" Maya said with a smile. "Dancing isn't just about your feet. It's about feeling the music and moving however feels good to you." Richard started to say something, but Maya held up her hand gently. "I'm on my break in 2 minutes," Maya said to Alex. "Would you like to dance with me?" Alex's mouth fell open. "Really? You would dance with me?" "I would love to dance with you," Maya said. "If you want to." Alex looked at his father with excitement and hope. Richard felt nervous about all the attention this would bring. People would stare. They would probably take pictures with their phones. But when he saw the joy in Alex's eyes, none of that mattered. "Go ahead," Richard said softly. "If you want to dance, then dance." Maya smiled at both of them. "Give me 2 minutes to clock out, and then let's show everyone how it's done." Maya walked away from their table, and Richard felt his heart beating fast. He looked around the restaurant and saw other people eating and talking. They had no idea that something important was about to happen. Richard was not sure what to expect. He had never seen anyone dance with someone in a wheelchair before. Alex sat very still in his wheelchair, but Richard could see the excitement in his son's eyes. Alex's hands were moving slightly on his lap, following the beat of the music. The song playing now was "Can't Help Myself" by the Four Tops. It had a good rhythm that made people want to move. "Dad, are you sure this is okay?" Alex asked quietly. Richard looked at his son. 2 weeks ago, he would have said no. He would have worried about what other people thought. He would have made some excuse to leave the restaurant before anything embarrassing could happen. But now, looking at Alex's hopeful face, Richard felt different. "This is more than okay," Richard said. "This is wonderful." Maya came back wearing jeans and a simple t-shirt instead of her work uniform. She had let her hair down from the ponytail she wore while working. She looked young and full of energy. "Ready to dance?" Maya asked Alex. Alex nodded but looked uncertain. "I don't know how to dance in this chair." "That's okay," Maya said. "I don't know how to dance in a wheelchair either. We'll figure it out, together." Maya positioned herself next to Alex's wheelchair. The song was still playing and other couples were still dancing near the jukebox. Maya started moving to the music, but she stayed close to Alex so they could move together. "Feel the beat," Maya said to Alex. "Let it move through your whole body." Alex started by moving his shoulders back and forth. Then he began moving his head to the rhythm. His left arm, which worked better than his right, started swaying with the music. "That's it," Maya said, encouraging him. "You're dancing." Maya danced beside Alex's wheelchair, matching her movements to his. When Alex moved his shoulders, Maya moved hers. When Alex raised his good arm, Maya raised both of hers. They were not doing the same dance as the couples on their feet, but they were definitely dancing together. Richard watched from the booth and felt something he had not felt in years. Pride. Pure, simple pride in his son. Alex was not trying to dance like everyone else. He was dancing like himself, and it was beautiful. Other people in the restaurant started to notice. At first, Richard felt nervous about the attention, but then he saw the looks on people's faces. They were not staring with pity or discomfort. They were smiling. Some were taking pictures, but not in a mean way. They looked happy to see something special happening. The song changed to "My Girl" by The Temptations, which was slower and more romantic. Maya adjusted her dancing to match the new rhythm. She showed Alex how he could move more gently, swaying side to side instead of bouncing to the beat. "This is my favorite kind of dancing," Maya told Alex. "Slow and smooth." Alex smiled so big that Richard thought his face might break. His son looked completely happy. Not happy despite being in a wheelchair, but just happy. Dancing with Maya, Alex forgot about everything that made him different. He was just a kid having fun. An older woman at a nearby table started clapping, in time with the music. Then her husband joined in. Soon half the restaurant was clapping and smiling, watching Alex and Maya dance. Richard felt tears in his eyes, but he did not wipe them away. When was the last time he had cried? When was the last time he had felt this moved by anything? All his business successes, all his money, all his achievements felt small compared to watching his son dance. Maya began to move in a circle around Alex's wheelchair, still keeping the beat. Alex turned his wheelchair slowly so he could follow her movement. Now they were really dancing together, with Alex leading the direction they moved. "You're a natural," Maya told Alex. "I bet you could teach other people how to dance like this." "Really?" Alex asked, still moving to the music. "Really," Maya said. "You have great rhythm and you're creative. Those are the most important things for dancing." The song was coming to an end. Maya came back to Alex's side and they finished the dance together, both raising their arms as the last notes played. The entire restaurant burst into applause. Alex looked around at all the people clapping for him. His face was red with excitement and maybe a little embarrassment, but he was still smiling. Maya took his hand and they both took a little bow. "Thank you," Alex said to Maya as the applause died down. "Thank you," Maya said back. "That was the best dance I've had in months." Richard stood up from the booth and walked over to them. He had never felt so proud of anyone in his whole life. "That was amazing," Richard said to Alex. "You looked so happy." "I was happy," Alex said. "I felt like I was flying." Maya looked at Richard and saw the emotion in his face. "Your son is a wonderful dancer," she told him, "and a wonderful kid." "Yes, he is," Richard said, and his voice was thick with feeling. They went back to their table to finish their dinner. Alex could not stop talking about the dance. He asked Maya questions about different types of music and dancing. Maya answered every question with patience and enthusiasm. As they ate, more people stopped by their table to tell Alex how much they enjoyed watching him dance. A little girl about 6 years old asked Alex if he would teach her how to dance in a wheelchair. Alex laughed and said he was still learning himself. Richard watched all of this and realized something important. For years he had seen Alex's wheelchair as something that limited his son. But tonight, Alex had turned his wheelchair into a dance partner. He had not let it stop him from doing what he wanted to do. Instead, he had found a new way to do it. When it was time to leave, Maya brought them their check. Richard looked at the total and realized the whole meal cost less than what he usually spent on lunch at fancy business restaurants. But this dinner had been worth more than any expensive meal he had ever eaten. "Thank you," Richard said to Maya, "for everything." "It was my pleasure," Maya said. "I hope you'll come back soon." "Can we come back next week?" Alex asked his father. Richard looked at his son's hopeful face. "We can come back whenever you want." As Richard pushed Alex's wheelchair toward the door, Alex was still humming the song they had danced to. Other customers waved goodbye to them. The older couple who had been dancing first gave Alex a thumbs up. Outside in the parking lot, Richard stopped walking for a moment. "Dad, are you okay?" Alex asked. Richard looked down at his son. "I'm better than okay," he said. "I'm proud of you. I'm proud to be your father." Alex reached up and took his father's hand. "I love you, Dad." "I love you too," Richard said, and meant it with his whole heart. As they drove home, Richard realized that Maya had given them both a gift tonight. She had shown Alex that he could do anything he set his mind to, and she had shown Richard how to see his son clearly for the first time. The dance had lasted only a few minutes, but it changed everything. The next week, Richard did something he had never done before. He called his office on Monday morning and told his assistant to cancel all his meetings for the day. Instead of going to work, he stayed home with Alex. "What do you want to do today?" Richard asked his son over breakfast. Alex looked surprised. His father had never asked him this question before. Usually Alex spent his days with Mrs. Garcia while Richard worked. "I don't know," Alex said. What do you want to do? I want to do whatever makes you happy, Richard said. We could play video games or watch movies or go somewhere fun. Alex thought for a moment. Could we go back to Murphy's diner for lunch? Richard smiled. Of course we can. They spent the morning at home together. Richard watched Alex play his video games and was amazed at how good his son was. Alex showed his father how he had modified his controller so he could play with just his left hand. He had figured out ways to do things that his physical therapists had never taught him. You're really smart, Richard told Alex. I had no idea. You could solve problems like this. I had to learn, Alex said simply. If I want to do something, I have to find a way to make it work. At lunchtime, they went to Murphy's diner. Maya was working again, and her face lit up when she saw them. My favorite dancers are back, Maya said as she led them to the same booth by the window. We couldn't stay away, Alex said with a big smile. As they ate their lunch, Richard asked Maya about herself. He learned that she was 28 years old and had an 8-year-old daughter named Sophie. Maya worked at the diner 4 days a week and at a grocery store on weekends. She was also taking classes at the community college to become a nurse. Being a nurse has always been my dream, Maya told them. I want to help people feel better. You already do that, Alex said. You made me feel better just by dancing with me. Maya's eyes got a little watery. That's the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me. Richard wanted to know more about Maya's life. Is it hard going to school and working 2 jobs? Maya nodded. Sometimes it's really tough. My daughter Sophie stays with our neighbor, Mrs. Williams, when I'm at work or school. I feel bad that I can't spend more time with her, but I know that getting my nursing degree will help us have a better life. How long until you finish school? Richard asked. 2 more years, Maya said. If I can keep paying for it. College is expensive, even community college. Richard felt something stir inside him. Maya had been so kind to Alex. She had given his son confidence and joy. She had shown Richard how to see Alex differently. Maya deserved help, but Richard knew he had to be careful about how he offered it. Over the next few weeks, Richard and Alex came to Murphy's diner twice a week. Every time, Maya treated Alex like he was the most important customer in the restaurant. She always asked about his video games and his online friends. She remembered everything Alex told her. One day, Maya was not working when they arrived. The manager said she was at school taking a big test. Alex was disappointed. I wanted to tell her about the new game I learned to play, Alex said. We can come back tomorrow, Richard said. Maya will want to hear about your game. That night, Richard lay in bed thinking about Maya. She worked so hard and never complained. She was always cheerful even when she looked tired. She treated everyone with kindness, especially Alex. Richard had never met anyone like her. The next day when they went to the diner, Maya looked upset. She brought them their food, but she was not smiling like usual. Is everything okay? Alex asked her. Maya sighed. I found out today that my college is raising their prices next semester. I don't think I can afford to keep going to school. Alex looked worried. But you said being a nurse was your dream. Dreams don't always come true, Maya said sadly. Sometimes real life gets in the way. After Maya walked away, Alex was quiet for a long time. Dad, that's not fair, Alex said finally. What's not fair? Richard asked. Maya helps everyone. She makes people happy. She should get to be a nurse if that's what she wants. Richard agreed completely. That night he made some phone calls. He found out exactly how much Maya's college cost. He also learned about her grades, which were excellent. Maya was a good student who worked hard. Richard had an idea, but he knew it might be complicated. He did not want Maya to feel embarrassed or think he was showing off his money. He wanted to help her because she deserved it, not because he felt sorry for her. A few days later, Richard was at the diner with Alex when Maya brought them their check. There was an envelope with Maya's name on it attached to the check. What's this? Maya asked. Just something for you, Richard said. Open it later when you have time. Maya looked curious, but put the envelope in her apron pocket. Thank you, she said, not knowing what was inside. That evening, Maya called Richard's cell phone. She was crying. "Mr. Stone, I can't accept this," Maya said through her tears. "It's too much money." Richard had put a check in the envelope for enough money to pay for Maya's remaining 2 years of college, plus extra for books and supplies. "Maya, you gave my son something I could never buy with money," Richard said. "You gave him confidence. You showed him that he can do anything. You changed both of our lives." "But this is too much," Maya said. "I can't pay you back." "I don't want you to pay me back," Richard said. "I want you to become the best nurse you can be. I want you to help other people the way you helped Alex." Maya was quiet for a moment. "Are you sure about this?" "I have never been more sure of anything," Richard said. "Thank you," Maya whispered. "I don't know what to say." "Say you'll keep being Alex's friend," Richard said. "Say you'll keep dancing with him when we come to the diner." "Always," Maya promised. The next time they went to Murphy's Diner, Maya hugged both Richard and Alex. "I enrolled in extra classes," Maya told them. "Now I can finish school in 1 year instead of 2. And my daughter Sophie is so excited. She wants to be a nurse too when she grows up." Alex clapped his hands. "That's awesome. You're going to be the best nurse ever." "I hope so," Maya said. "I want to help kids like you, Alex. Kids who need someone to believe in them." Richard watched this conversation and felt something he had not felt in years. He felt like he was part of a real friendship, not a business relationship where people were nice to him because of his money. A real friendship based on caring about each other. As they ate their dinner, Alex told Maya about a new idea he had. "I want to learn more about dancing," Alex said. "Maybe I could teach other kids in wheelchairs how to dance too." Maya's face lit up. "That's a wonderful idea. You could start a dance class." Richard looked at his son with amazement. A month ago, Alex barely left his room. Now he wanted to teach other kids. The change was incredible. "If you want to start a dance class, we'll make it happen," Richard told Alex. "Really?" Alex asked. "Really," Richard said. "We'll find a place to have classes and invite other kids to join." Maya smiled at both of them. "This is going to be something special," she said. Richard knew she was right. Something special was happening to all of them. They were becoming a family, even though they were not related. They were choosing to care about each other, and that was making all the difference. 6 months later, Richard stood in his kitchen making pancakes for Alex's 13th birthday breakfast. This was something he had never done before. Usually Mrs. Garcia made all the meals, but Richard had asked her to take the day off. He wanted to cook for his son himself. "Dad, something smells good," Alex said as he rolled his wheelchair into the kitchen. "Happy birthday," Richard said, putting a plate of pancakes in front of Alex. "I made these myself." Alex took a bite and smiled. "These are really good. Did you follow a recipe?" "I called Maya last night and asked her how to make them," Richard admitted. "She talked me through it step by step." Alex laughed. "That sounds like Maya. She helps everyone." Richard sat down with his own plate of pancakes. The kitchen felt warm and happy. So different from the cold, quiet breakfast they used to have. Everything had changed since that first night at Murphy's Diner. After Dr. Martinez quit, Richard had found a new physical therapist named Lisa Chen. But this time, Richard interviewed the therapist himself. He picked Lisa because she focused on what Alex could do, not what he could not do. She also encouraged Richard to learn the exercises so he could help Alex practice at home. Richard had also hired a contractor to build a small gym in their basement. It had special equipment for Alex's wheelchair and mats for floor exercises. Richard worked out with Alex 3 times a week. Sometimes they just exercised together. Other times they listened to music and practiced dance moves while they worked out. "What do you want to do for your birthday today?" Richard asked Alex. "Can we go to the dance class this afternoon?" Alex asked. "I want to show everyone the new move we learned." Richard smiled. "Of course we can go." 3 months ago, Richard had rented a space at the community center for Alex's dance class. What started as an idea had become something amazing. 12 kids in wheelchairs came to the class every Saturday. Alex and Maya taught them different ways to dance and move to music. The first week, only 3 kids showed up. Their parents looked nervous and uncertain. But when they saw Alex leading the class with confidence and joy, the parents relaxed. Word spread quickly. Soon kids were driving from other cities to join the class. Alex had become a different person since starting the dance class. He was more confident and outgoing. He made friends easily. He even started going to regular school 3 days a week instead of just doing online classes at home. "I have a surprise for your birthday party tonight," Richard told Alex. "What kind of surprise?" Alex asked with excitement. "You'll have to wait and see," Richard said. "But I think you're going to love it." That afternoon, they went to the dance class at the community center. The room was full of kids and parents. Maya was there with her daughter Sophie, who had started helping with the younger kids in the class. "Happy birthday, Alex," Maya said, giving him a big hug. "Are you ready to dance?" "I'm always ready to dance," Alex said. Richard watched from the side of the room as Alex led the warm-up. His son moved with confidence and grace. Alex showed the other kids a new routine he had created to a song by Bruno Mars. The routine was designed so that kids with different abilities could all participate. Some kids could move their arms but not their legs. Others could move one side of their body better than the other. Alex had figured out how to make dances that worked for everyone. He was a natural teacher, and the other kids loved him. During the class, Richard talked with some of the other parents. They all said the same thing. The dance class had changed their children's lives. The kids were happier and more confident. They had made friends and learned that they could do things they never thought possible. "Alex is special," said Mrs. Rodriguez, whose 10-year-old daughter Maria was in the class. "He sees possibilities where other people see problems." Richard felt proud, but also humble. His son was teaching him as much as he was teaching the other kids. After the dance class, they went home to get ready for Alex's birthday party. This year was going to be different from all his previous birthdays. Instead of a quiet dinner with just Richard and Mrs. Garcia, Alex had asked to have his party at Murphy's Diner with all his friends. At 6 o'clock, they arrived at the diner. Richard had talked to the manager and rented the whole restaurant for the evening. The tables had been moved to make space for dancing. Balloons and streamers decorated the room. Alex's friends from the dance class were there with their families. Kids from his regular school came too. Maya was there with Sophie. Even Lisa Chen, Alex's physical therapist, came to celebrate. But the biggest surprise was sitting at a table near the back of the room. Alex's mother, Linda, had flown in from California, where she now lived. "Mom?" Alex said with shock and happiness. Linda stood up and hugged her son tightly. "I wouldn't miss your 13th birthday for anything." Richard had called Linda 2 weeks ago. Their divorce had been bitter, and they had barely spoken since then. But Richard knew that Alex missed his mother, even though he never complained about it. "Thank you for calling me," Linda whispered to Richard. "I've missed so much of his life." "We both did," Richard said, "but we can be better from now on." The party was wonderful. Everyone ate burgers and fries and birthday cake. Alex's friends from the dance class performed a special routine they had practiced just for his birthday. Alex joined in from his wheelchair, leading the dance with a huge smile on his face. Then something magical happened. The music changed to "My Girl" by The Temptations. It was the same song Alex and Maya had danced to that first night at the diner. Maya rolled Alex's wheelchair to the middle of the room. "May I have this dance?" Maya asked formally. "Yes, you may," Alex replied with a grin. As they danced together, other people joined in. Richard danced with Linda for the first time in 3 years. Sophie danced with some of the kids from Alex's class. Parents and children moved together to the music. Richard looked around the room and felt overwhelmed with gratitude. 6 months ago, he had been a lonely, bitter man who barely knew his own son. Tonight, he was surrounded by friends and family, watching his son dance with joy and confidence. Alex was not the same scared, isolated boy who used to hide in his room. He was a leader, a teacher, and an inspiration to other kids. He had learned that being different did not mean being less than anyone else. It just meant finding your own special way to shine. Maya caught Richard's eye from across the room and smiled. She was almost finished with nursing school now. In a few months, she would graduate and start working at the children's hospital. She planned to specialize in helping kids with disabilities. As the song ended, Alex called for everyone's attention. "I want to say something," Alex announced. "A year ago, I thought my life was pretty small. I stayed in my room and played video games alone. I thought that was all I could do." The room got quiet as everyone listened. But then I met Maya, and she showed me that I could dance. And my dad started spending time with me and believing in me. And now, I have all these amazing friends and we're teaching other kids that they can dance too. Alex paused and looked around the room. "I learned that being in a wheelchair doesn't make me broken or sad. It just makes me different. And different can be pretty awesome." Everyone clapped and cheered. Richard felt tears in his eyes, but they were happy tears this time. As the party wound down and people started to leave, Richard realized that Maya had given him much more than he had ever given her. Her kindness had opened his heart and helped him find his way back to his son. The scholarship money he had given her was nothing compared to the gift she had given him. Alex was talking excitedly with his mother about visiting her in California during summer vacation. They were making plans to go to Disneyland and the beach. Linda looked happy and relaxed in a way Richard had not seen in years. "Thank you," Linda said to Richard quietly, "for helping our son become this amazing person." "He was always amazing," Richard said. "I just had to learn how to see it." As they drove home that night, Alex was tired but still smiling. "Dad, this was the best birthday ever," Alex said. "It was pretty great," Richard agreed. "Do you think we can have the next dance class at our house? The community center is getting too small for all the kids who want to join." Richard thought about their big empty house that had felt so cold and lonely for so many years. "I think that's a perfect idea," Richard said. "We have plenty of room for dancing." As they pulled into their driveway, Richard realized that their house was finally going to feel like a real home. It would be full of laughter and music and kids learning that they could do anything they set their minds to. The dance had lasted only a few minutes that first night at Murphy's Diner, but it had changed everything forever.